Hello everyone and welcome to day 2 of our watercolor course. I hope that everything went well in the first session that we had. Today we're going to be going into a little bit more depth than we did yesterday. Today we're going to be moving into three-dimensionality and we're going to be looking into how to shade. So how does shading contribute to creating the depth within these sort of paintings that we're going to be doing. I have 3 different paintings lined up today. We're going to be doing a lemon, we're going to be doing a pineapple, and we're also going to be doing a watermelon. So I'm going to go ahead and switch the view here and we can look at our setup and then we can get started with the session today. So I'm going to go ahead and switch the view so you can see what I've got. All right, so let's get started with the project, shall we? So first things first, whenever we're looking at painting or drawing from certain objects or things in real life, it's helpful to have a reference in front of you. So while we're going through these processes, if you want to have some of these fruits in front of you, that's perfectly fine. In fact, I encourage you to do so, even though I will be showing you a tutorial for how to paint these different fruits, right? So it's always encouraged to have a reference image. That way you can go off of what's in real life, because that's the whole point, is that we're painting what is in real life. So let's go ahead and grab our brush here. Here's my setup real quickly, just so you know what I'm doing. I have my cup of water off here to the right, which I'm gonna have right over here. Of course, have our napkin, paper towel right up in front. And then I'm gonna have my paints right over to right here so you can see that. Actually, I'm going to move my water right over to the top left just so that we don't spill over our painting that we have right here. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start off with the lemon first, so that we can go through that. Since we're pretty used to the ovular shapes and circular shapes, just as we were using within yesterday's introduction. So go ahead and grab a little bit of this yellow right here. Just go ahead and grab a little bit. We're gonna start off with drawing sort of a lemon-esque shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with kind of the top nib of the lemon right here. And I'm just going to sort of go out like that, like so. And then I'm gonna go to the other side, kind of do a sort of half circle, if you will. And then we're gonna go down a little bit and we're gonna pull back in around, let's say maybe right there. And go ahead and grab a little bit more paint. Grab some more water. I'm just gonna pull this down, just pull the paint right down. We can always expand out, so don't worry about whether or not yours is too circular or not enough. Okay, so there we go. And then I'm gonna, just like we did yesterday, push the pooling colors towards the middle. So go ahead and grab some more paint right there, and we're just gonna, see, that was really dark what we have right there. So we're gonna make sure we really push those colors all across the paper right here. If it's more helpful for you, feel free to go ahead and grab your water and put the water on the paper before you put the paint down. Sometimes that can help with the form, and it can help with the painting, just to get the colors from being too saturated, right? Okay. So we're gonna head and go with that. Now, one of the important things in this is to establish our light source, right? So as I'm looking at this right now, I'm saying, okay, I think I want our light source to be coming from the left, right? So we're going from the top left direction, we're gonna be headed down onto the lemon side. And we do this within drawing, regular painting, and even watercolor, especially because we're dealing with such light colors in watercolor. So let's go ahead and start to pull up on the right side right here some of our colors. As you can see, it's a little bit dark, like we do. We just push that in the middle. If it pulls up, we just push it right into the middle. We just go ahead And the more you push it, the more of a gradual shadow you're gonna see. Because we don't exactly want just a sudden shadow. We want it to be more of a gradual process as we're seeing this from one side to the other. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and let that sit for a moment, and then we'll come back to it. As we said in the first introduction, the more that we paint without allowing the paper to rest, not allowing some of the water to evaporate, the less, or I should say fewer layers we're going to be able to accumulate because of what we're dealing with the water. As we said, if we pour a lot of water, if we pour a lot of paint at the same time, and we don't give it time to dry, you're going to be stuck with a continual shade of a darker yellow that, in this case, will not allow you to build up maybe 4 or 5 layers as we're going to be doing. So I'm going to give it about a minute more. Just going to go ahead and clean off my brush real quickly. And what you're gonna do is, as you'll notice, eventually by using the yellow, it's going to start to have no effect. There's 2 things that we can do. What I've already started to do is I've grabbed my brush and I have gone into the yellow, used less water, and just used more of the paint, right? So we're not diluting it as much. The second thing that we're gonna end up doing is starting to add a bit of an orange tint to the surroundings of the orange, right? So let's go ahead and start to add a little bit of a darker shade here. So as you can see within this, we can have some lines which are really dark, right? And we can have some where we push that in a bit more. So I kind of like that as my cast shadow. And now I think I'm just gonna push it just a little bit. Maybe even a little bit over here. Not as much. You can be really soft with it, as I'm doing right now. Don't have to do a whole lot. Or if you're having a little bit of difficulty, you can press a bit more, right? All depends on what you're looking for. You can even do some little squiggly lines throughout to show a bit of more natural texture. You may be leaning towards the darker orange and red at about this time. So let's go ahead and grab a little bit more. And for this next one, this is going to be the darkest of the layers right here. It's going to be much darker. You can even start to do a little bit of that, where you can do a little bit of a ring right around there. We can even do that about right here. So we can always come back later if we think that it's not enough. As you can see, it's starting to pool a little bit, so I'm going to start moving away from that. Let's move into the next step. So for the next step, let's go ahead and grab just very light green. I did 1 stroke of green, and I'm just going to lightly make a stem right up to the top. So you can barely see that, just a little bit. We're just gonna go straight up to about right there. And now I'm gonna do another 1 stroke of green, dip in the water, grab some green, and then I'm going to go ahead and make our first little adjustment. Got a little bit too much there. Where I'm gonna go straight down like so with this. Go straight down. Create that 1 little leaflet that's going to go through there. And then if we want, we can do a second one right up here, which is even fainter. Do a little bit darker just so you can see it. Just like that. A little bit darker. And so our stem's starting to darken up. I'm going to push this throughout just a little bit because it's starting to pool, as you can see. But now at least you'll be able to see it. So now what we can start doing is we can go ahead and grab some of the green, right? And we can just say, okay, well, it's a little bit dark, so I'm just gonna get a really light green. The more water that we add, the lighter it's going to become. I'm going to go ahead from right here and I'm just going to create a small little extension of the leaf. And then I'm going to go down through here, grab this part, and kind of make sort of an organic shape of a leaf. Right through about there. And then, I don't know. Maybe we do the same thing for the top. We push it out a bit more. So I'm gonna go ahead and really dilute this, and then I'm gonna go up through here. Really pull that, feel the pull. And then we're gonna go up, and then we're gonna go thin little crisp leaf through up there, and there we go. So now we have, from right here, two separate leaves, right? Two separate leaves. And this is where we can kind of get fun. So we can say, okay, well, you know, let's say maybe the top leaf is a little bit darker. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and start with some of a lighter green. So I'm really gonna dilute that green. And then I'm just gonna kind of have that coming from here on this side. It's gonna reach the tip of that. I'm gonna push it down a bit. I'm gonna push that. And I'm gonna leave this side open a bit because I'm thinking I'm gonna go in with a darker green for that to show the cross. And then I'm gonna grab some of that light green, I'm gonna push it up through here, and I'm just gonna fill up the sides right there. Kind of pushing it. I'm gonna do the top to be a bit darker, just because it's kind of gonna have a cast shadow on it. So now what I can do is I can go in and grab a bit of yellow, so we're gonna do that, and I can kind of put some of the yellow into the green right there. If I really want to, I can grab a whole lot of it, and I can just go like that. And then I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push some of it out to here, and I'm gonna do a little bit right there. It's gonna be a really bright one. And now that we've sort of done that, we can grab green, which is less diluted, and we can just go like so and kind of just push it throughout. Now, as you can see, we're gonna use that and we're gonna slowly push it down the stem right there. Now, sometimes, right, we have too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab some of it and put it on my towel. It's kind of pooling right there, as you can see, so I'm just gonna slowly grab it. Just kind of, we don't want too much. We wanna build it up in layers, right? This is a great example doing the lemon because you really have to deal with this sort of layering process. It's gonna be essential to some of the later ones, especially the pineapple. We can grab some of the green as we just did right here, brush it off a bit, and then do maybe some tiny little darker parts in here, especially on that side of that leaf. And then we can kind of wither the leaf right there, kind of go like that. So you can sort of build it up, you know? And then, oh, I don't know, let's go in with maybe a little bit more of the yellow. Just kind of mix that in. See how that plays. So now that we've done that, we're looking and go, okay, so our lemon's looking pretty nice, but how do we take this to the next level? If we really want to define it, we can take a little bit of blue, give it a second to dry, and we can kind of do a little bit of this where we just, on the back side of the stem, we say, okay, we're gonna do a cast shadow right here where it's gonna be much, much darker. We grab our blue and maybe a little bit of black. We kind of just fill in there, kind of a darker spot. We're just gonna define it, just like that. And at the tip, I'm just gonna do a little bit to show that there was a little bit of cast shadow right there. And then I'm gonna go in and grab some of the dark blue, and I'm gonna just do a light little part right there. So our stem's doing nicely. We can grab a little bit of blue too right here and show the withered process. And we're gonna go over it later again. We can sort of push some of this blue since it's pulling up right here. So now that we need that to dry, let's go ahead and go back to our lemon, right? So we can go ahead and grab some more of our yellow and really darken this up a bit, right? Because we're pulling in layers. So we're really trying to figure out, how does this lemon work? And it works by pooling in this sense. We're grabbing this yellow, we're finding the shadows of it, trying to define these areas. And as you'll notice, it gets a little bit darker and darker and darker as we go along. Cast shadows are kind of defining themselves. And so it's getting better with every moment. And then what we can do if we really want to define is we can say, okay, well, you know, it's not all the way that we're seeing this whole side. We're just mainly kind of seeing, well, it's mainly that one area right here where the sunlight's hitting. So we can darken some of this up, you know. Give a little bit more yellow. Kind of brush that in right on the sides here. Okay. And then as a final, if we want, we can try to figure out how is it that we want to go about finishing these leaves. So we can go ahead, grab a little bit of this blue here, go through, make it a little bit darker. Find the tip on here, and we grab a little bit more of that blue, put some in here, kind of bring the leaf out. And in this case, we can do a little bit of a line all the way around, kind of show that shadow that we got going there. And then for this, we can show, you know, the tip of that right there. Tip of the stem. And we can go ahead, if we don't like that, we can just grab some more of that light green and just ease it up. Or we can just try to dilute it a bit, grab some of the color out of here. Just like that. Perfect. So now, let's go ahead and move on to the pineapple. So the pineapple is going to be a bit different in some of the shapes that we're seeing. We're going to start off with a layer of yellow, as we did with the last. But this time we want to make sure that the yellow is very, very light. We're even going to dip into some of our reds in this one. So we're really going to try to push that. So go ahead and grab some of your yellow. We're going to go ahead and form this pineapple right here. You got sort of a bottom shape right there. And it pushes out at the edges and comes back in. I'm already kind of defining my shadows here. We're going to have our shadow on the left side for this one. Put some color on the page and then grab some water and really spread it around. You want to be very, very, very light for this. We're going to slowly move into the darker colors on this one. Okay. All right, so there we go. That's our basic main frame. So now, let's go ahead and put some green. So go ahead and grab your light green. And a pineapple has a few different shapes for the top. We're looking at some greens for leaves that are gonna move down here. They're kind of organic. And we're just gonna paint some leaves going up here. This one. And then as you move to the top, they're sort of gonna lean in, right? And they're gonna fade out like this. You can do some more organic sort of shapes like that. If you wanna do some twists. Just do a very light for right now. And whatnot. I'm gonna push this in, this green, just so that it doesn't pull up too much. And collect this green and push it into the other ones. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab some more. Let's see, what do we wanna do here? We're gonna go out, as we did with the other ones. We're gonna do it like that. We're gonna have a bigger one and push it out, and then we're going to go up like so. Kind of have this shape going on right here. It's going to be bigger at the top, smaller at the bottom. As far as height, that is. Okay. So that's our silhouette. So we have these little fronds sticking out, okay? And we're going to grab a bit more green, and I kind of want to really show that there's these parts, these little leaves sticking over the edge. As you can see, it's pulled up a bit, just to be expected. I'm just gonna push it around, like so. All right, so let's get back to the pineapple, the actual edible part. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with a bit of orangish yellow. And when we look at this, a pineapple has these triangular shapes, right, that are reaching out. So what I'm trying to do is I'm saying, okay, well, if I want to capture these, how do I do that? Well, we can grab these little triangles, upward triangles, put them off to the side like so. And then we can grab a little bit more. And we can go ahead and grab some more of this. And we can make these patterns. Now the best way to do this is to go ahead and sort of offset them like so. So we'll have one right here, and then one right there. And you're doing this alternating pattern. Notice as we're moving over to the right, we're making it slightly less visible. So I'm just using the yellow here now. And I'm gonna go again. And I'm gonna go through here in the middle. And I'm gonna go over here, okay? So we're kind of moving around here. Grab some more yellow. We're gonna go through here and just sort of alternate. You can go in a line. You can go down, horizontal, vertical. You can go sideways. Whatever method that works for you is fine. I'm going in rows. So you can see what I'm doing here is I'm making small little triangles, right? Because we want to emulate the whole part of the pineapple, which are those little thorn shapes that we see, the triangular shapes that we can make out here. And we're just going to slowly make those one at a time. And you can go quick. You don't have to take a whole lot of time because we're going to go over them. again. So don't be too worried if they don't turn out how you want them to. We're gonna go over them again. We're gonna go one in the middle, right here again. We're gonna go put that one there, and we'll do another one right there. I'm gonna grab a little bit more. And then I'm gonna throw one right in the middle, and I'm gonna do it again. Follow the same pattern we've been doing this whole time. It's okay if the colors are offset. It's all good. We'll go back over them. All right, let's go up here. Put some up there. All right. So now I'm gonna grab the tiniest little bit of yellow. I'm just gonna make the shapes that we see over here, just like the other side. All right. So now we have our pineapple. I'm going to let this sit for a while, and I'm gonna move back to the top green part, because remember, we have to let these different layers dry before we move on to the next. Let's go ahead and grab our green. I'm thinking we start off with a pretty light green. So dip your brush into the green, grab a whole lot of water, and we're just gonna slowly move around the leaves here, dealing with the shading. So I'm trying to grab this, I'm gonna put it on the shaded side, try to pull out that shade. I'm gonna do the same for over here. Some of these plants, some of these leaves are going to be much darker than the others, but we're just starting off with the first layer of green. We're gonna go back over them. I'm leaving this side to be a little bit lighter than the other because we're still dealing with our shadows here. So as we can notice, I saw that was a bit too dark, so we're just gonna use just a little bit. I'm gonna brush it off. And on this side, we won't go any darker than that, so we're gonna basically leave it at that shade of green. So now, let's go ahead and see what we do if we do a little less water, a little bit of a darker green. So we're gonna really try to concentrate our green now. And go ahead and grab that. And I'm just gonna slowly, not a whole lot of water, but I'm just gonna slowly go up the sides of this. Slowly go up the sides. Just sort of grabbing that, pushing it. As you can see, some of this water is pooling. So as you can tell, if we use too much water, we won't be able to go back over it for a while, which is okay, but we don't want to completely flood our painting. Okay. So now let's grab a little bit more and start to fill this in here. It's okay to go really dark on some of these, the leaves. It's okay to do that. Because the shapes are made in the concentrations. So if we can, push our colors to certain areas that are much darker than others, then we can really differentiate what is what layers are what. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grab lighter sort of green, push it around here, push it around there and whatnot. All right, I'm gonna give this a moment to sit, and then I'm gonna come back to it, maybe about 5 minutes, and then we'll start on the next layer. Because as you can see, the water's starting to pool a bit. So let's come back in 5 minutes and let's do the next layer. Okay, so I've given my pineapple a few minutes to dry. And now let's go ahead and start the next layer. So as I'm doing this, I'm gonna grab some of my yellow, a little bit of higher concentration, and I'm gonna just kind of go over it, start to build up layers. Now don't worry about the triangles that we made earlier. It doesn't matter if you go over them. So we're gonna build them up. We're gonna build up these layers, so it's all right. Just sort of go in, kind of create that layer for the light source. There we go, so we can see that light source. So now, we have a little bit of a darker orange, darker color, right? We can go ahead and grab some of this orangish yellow, now a mix of both, and sort of mix that with the red. Start to see it's pooling a bit, so we're just gonna brush that, push it. All right, so now we can see we have a difference between shadows. So now we're gonna go ahead and move up to our leaves. Gonna add a little bit more there. Start to work on that area. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some of my green here. And I'm gonna really try to start finding the difference between layers. So I see that I want this to be a leaf that is different. So you wanna be very distinct now. You wanna say, okay, if I can find a green that's gonna be dark, then this is it. This is the darkest I wanna go. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on the side of this leaf right there. And I'm gonna grab a little bit more. Maybe the inside of this leaf is a bit darker than the outside. And then, I don't know, maybe this area of this leaf is a bit darker. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab some more of that. I'm gonna sort of go like so. I'll do the same thing for this leaf right here, for the inside of that, and I'll put some out there. Bring that down. And the same for that one right there. And now as we're doing this, we're just trying to find the difference between these leaves. The difference between one leaf and that of another. Now, we can go even darker if we want to, or we can add different tinges. So if I want to grab a little bit of brown, to show that some of these leaves are a bit darker, maybe they're getting a bit brown on the outside. Maybe it's a little bit of an older pineapple. I can go ahead and sort of add that brown tinge to the side of these pineapples. And that's perfectly fine. These leaves are going to be aging a bit. Because that's what happens. How they age a bit. So now that those are a bit more brown, you can see that that's a different layer than that one. We can go ahead and grab a little bit of our dark green here, a bit of our green, and just maybe add some more black to it. Get it a bit darker here. We're gonna really try to differentiate one from the other. Oh, there we go, see. So now it's pooling. So that's okay. So then that means that now I don't need to add anymore. Now I can just take what I have and really push it. And that can distinguish one of our sides, the light side, from the darker side over here. So now that we've done that, we can go ahead and move back into our pineapple. So this is where it gets fun. We can add a little bit of red right here. And I can go ahead and grab this red and sort of push it into some of the sides over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the red on some of the tips of the pineapple. It's thorns. Just right there, as you can see. Just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna grab some, put it on that one. That one. I'm gonna grab some more. And put some on that one. On this one right here. I'm just gonna sort of move my way around the pineapple. And we're gonna put some more right here and right there. If it starts to be too much or not enough, go ahead and grab your brush, put it along or wipe it along the towel. Starting to see the difference right here between these. So now, as you can see between these right here, we have pineapples, shades. I'm gonna go ahead and start to add the third layer for this, right? So we can go into a third layer, which is gonna be our darkest layer of the pineapple. Let's see, we're getting a little bit of blending. That's okay. That is okay. We can go back over it. Just gonna really sort of push that right there. We can go back in with the red and do some more layers. Grab that right here, make it a bit darker. It's all about just small little touches, small little touches. Just take your time, don't need to rush. You can go slow if you want. So now, we're doing pretty good. I'm gonna come back to this, but I think that as we're waiting for the fourth layer of the thorns here, we should go ahead and start on our watermelon. So let's go ahead and start on the watermelon while we're waiting for this one to dry. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some of my, my red here. Not a whole lot. I want it to be pretty diluted in the beginning. So I'm gonna grab a lot of water, not a lot of color. And I'm just going to go ahead and sort of go down here. It's not gonna be a perfect triangle. Just slowly push it in. So we're gonna be making sort of a red shape. We're gonna go down and up. Go down and up. And from right here, we're gonna go across. And then we're gonna go down. We're gonna go right here. We're gonna go down again. So it's kind of like a red mountain, if you can think about it that way. Like a red mountain. In this case, our shadows are a bit different. The back side of the watermelon, or for what we're seeing from our view, the front side of the watermelon, is gonna have the majority of the shadows. It's gonna be the darkest part. So I'm not too worried about this side being too dark. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Gonna get that little tip right there. You can round it out. You can make it a little bit more smooth. You can even push out the watermelon if you want it to be a bit more triangular. Or you can make it more straight if you feel like it needs to be a bit more straight. You can even say, hey, I kind of want my slice to be thicker, in which case you could move this out, make the ring bigger. But now let's go ahead and grab a lighter shade of red, a really light shade. And we're gonna really push that for this side. The whole point for this project right here will be to show the light source coming in from this direction. You don't have to do this. I'm just gonna show you the light. Don't do this on your paper. I'm just gonna show you the direction where the light's coming from on this. On this one, we have the light coming from this angle, right from there. Right from there. That's where this is our light source. So now we're going to do the next part. Go ahead and grab your yellow. Do a light yellow. There's a layer in the watermelon, as we can see right here. We're gonna really push this where it's a really, really light yellow. Really, really light yellow. It goes all the way around, just like that. 3 layers to watermelon, right? We're getting to the outside of the melon, of the hard shell. So now I'm gonna grab a bit more. I'm gonna darken it up a little bit on this side, since this side is the darkest side. It's okay if it blends. We want it to blend. It's gonna be a bit fluid. It's okay. And now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my last layer of the green. Your green for this one's gonna be a bit darker, so don't worry. Be a bit darker, and it's okay if it bleeds. We want it to bleed. So we're gonna go ahead and grab some of this green right here. And we're gonna lightly push it across. Like I said, it's okay if it bleeds in. We want it to be like that. It's nice. It makes it look more realistic. It makes it look more believable. It makes it look more believable. So we have this underbelly of the watermelon that we're looking at right here, if you would like to call it that. What you're looking at is a difference between layers. And as we saw on this side where the light source is coming in from here, well, in this case, the whole of the watermelon's underside is going to be dark. So we're not dealing with the same sort of light transition as we were before. So it's okay to have that be dark. Right? It's okay to let it bleed. There we go. So now that that's done and we can wait for that to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and add some of the last little details to this pineapple, since that's finally ready to be painted. So we can go ahead and add some more of our layers right here. Add a bit more. Add more to our outside thorns. Whole process. We want to really blend that right there. Get that. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my dark orange again, and I'm going to darken things up right around here. Push it in. I think that will about do it for the pineapple now that we've gotten a bit darker. So let's go ahead and go right back into our watermelon now. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put some seeds in here too, I'm thinking. So I'm gonna start to change this a bit. We're gonna start going pretty dark here. Don't feel afraid, just go ahead and grab a darker red. Concentrate it. Concentrate the red. Feel free to use less water. That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna really push that. What's nice about watercolor paper is it's gonna give it that natural look that we're looking for. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab some right here. Really push that. Push the red. It's okay if you have an uneven surface. That's how watermelon works. It's all right. I'm actually gonna do a small little area right here where it's gonna be darker than the rest. It's gonna be a little bit of an uneven surface, if you will. And that's okay. Go ahead and push that. And it's gonna go up, and a little bit jaggedy. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some more water and push that in. And it's gonna be where it kind of ties over a bit. So now, let's grab some more red, dilute it a bit more, and go ahead and just put some water there and really push that. As you can tell, we're gonna make this side very dark. So let's go ahead and grab some more red. You start to notice that on your paper that your red is beginning to pool up. It's too dark, you need to let it dry. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can pause the video, let it dry, head right back in. It's all good. So now I'm gonna go ahead and go along the side here. I'm gonna say, you know what? Kind of like that. I like that for right now. So I'm gonna go and grab some more yellow, and we're gonna do what we were doing before. We're just gonna say, okay, well, I'm gonna grab some more water, and I'm gonna push this yellow across because this is the darker side. This is the darker side. If I think it's too yellow, I'll just grab some of this, put it on my towel. Go ahead, brush it. It's all up to you. You know, however dark you want it to be, however light you want it to be. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab some of my green here. I'm gonna concentrate it a bit more, less water. Get it kind of dark. Let's figure out how dark we want this to get. I kind of like that. It's looking pretty nice right there. I don't like that. Right? That looks good. Now, I have the choice to push my watermelon out a bit more. I might do that. So I'm going to grab my yellow. I'm just going to push it out a bit more. Grab some of my red. Grab some water, push it out. I'm gonna go ahead and let the watermelon sit for a second, and then we're gonna come back and put some more layers on it. We're gonna make the green a bit darker. We're gonna go ahead and put some seeds in there, and then I think that will about do it for us. All right, so I have let my painting sit for about 3 minutes or so. So we're gonna go ahead and add in the last little details to our watermelon. I'm gonna grab a very, very high concentration of paint from our green, and I'm gonna push that down, just like so. As you can see, it really shows up. I'm gonna pull that like so. So now what we have, we're just gonna grab our fine tip and slightly pull it in. Now what we're showing is that we're giving a little bit of three-dimensionality to our painting here. We're saying, hey, if you look at our painting, we have the outside of the actual melon caving in to this shape right here, right? It's a concave shape. And on the outside right here, we have the watermelon pushing out. So our top by this point is, I would say, pretty dry, right? We're not looking for a very wet surface, as we can see right here. So go ahead and grab your pen. And we're gonna go ahead and add some little seeds. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a little seed going about right here. I'm gonna add that in. It's kind of hiding in that little area. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add one about right here. And there's another one maybe right here or so. And then I've got one that's kind of hiding in right there. And then for this one, maybe I have one that's a seed right there and he's just kind of hanging out. And then I got another one, let's say right here. And you can go around and just start adding these seeds to your watermelon. We got a big one right there. Maybe I got a little one right there, kind of hiding out, and one right there. And you can kind of pick and choose where it is that you've got your seeds. Make sure not to put too many, but I'd say maybe 7 or 8 around the side of your watermelon is perfectly fine. I think I'll do one more about right here. And there you have it. There's your watermelon. Go ahead and let this part that we just put in dry for a little bit before touching it. That way you'll have all 3 of your pieces completely dry, painted, and ready. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thanks for sticking along with me today and painting along as we did these wonderful little fruits. And tomorrow we have a whole bunch of other projects that we have lined up where we're going to be doing ice cream, from popsicle sticks to cones and all of that fun stuff. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.